All right, so welcome back. Like I said, now last podcast, obviously we talked about origin.
Boom.
And we talked about where it started, how it started, the trials and tribulations, to say the least, that you went through getting it to that point. But it's been so you were on the podcast 1 year ago because we were up at this origin camp 1 year ago, and now you're back on it again. But it's been a big year.
It's been a huge year.
Been a big year of growth for the company. How many people?
We've grown by another 30 people.
So total, we're looking at 40 plus people.
Yeah. And I think this time last year we were, right around 12 to 15. Mm-hmm. And we, you know what is crazy is, I don't know if I told you this time last year, like I don't get real stressed out. Mm-hmm. This time last year we had the immersion camp, right? We had the grand opening of the factory. We had just moved 60,000 square foot factory into our factory like 2 or 3 weeks prior, and it was still moving into, and there were some other things going on with business or whatever, and I don't know if I told you this, one night I left camp during camp.
You did not tell me that.
I left camp and went home. I was by myself and my family was still here, and I was laying in bed and I couldn't get to sleep, and I just felt really weird. Like my body felt weird, and all of a sudden my heart, I felt like it was beating through my chest. And I was like, well, what is going on? Come to find out, I had an anxiety attack. Never had one in my life. I haven't had one since. And there was more going on.
So what does that actually mean? I don't even know what that means.
No, dude, I had never.
That sounds like some echo.
38. What are you talking about? 38 years.
Actually, you're cruising super hard. So there's no anxiety.
Immune. Yeah.
38 years old, and it was like, I don't know what brought it on. I think there was a lot of.
So what does that actually mean? So it means your blood.
I think your
pulse
blood
goes
pressure
up,
goes up, but scientifically, I don't know. All I know is it was like.
I thought you were going to tell me heart attack.
No, dude, I had it, and I was like, whoa, and I just, man.
So how did you know it was an anxiety attack?
I told somebody what happened,
and then they said,
"Oh, you had an anxiety attack." I was like, okay, I'm not having one of those again.
That was
because we took down 2 elephants instead of 1.
Do you think that's the most stressed you've ever been then?
No, I mean, I don't feel like it was. No, I mean, no, not even close. I mean,
so what do you think brought it on?
I think it was a little bit of the unknown of what's to come.
Now this is now it just got interesting because you're sitting here complaining about or not complaining, but you're making a statement about the unknown.
Yeah.
Now imagine getting on board of a little wooden ship and sailing across the country. There's no pictures. You don't know what this place looks like.
Right. You have expectations of
You've
things.
heard about Indians.
Right.
With tomahawks. Right. That's what you've heard about.
Right.
Yeah. That's got to be stressful. So that was sort of a point. When you were on last time, it was at sort of everything was launching at one time. New factory, you had all this stuff going on, and
the day after we recorded that podcast
was what?
The day after I went home and slept that night, we recorded the podcast.
Okay, dang!
I remember sitting in the factory that night, and a friend of mine drove by late night, and we were recording, and all the lights were on in the factory, and it was just crazy, the old New England church bells in the background. It was just an awesome time, and that kind of like got me to like my body only calmed down at that point, and I reset and good. Never had it before, never had it after.
Well, I'll tell you what was crazy from my perspective is when we were first linking up when we were buying the building, right? Mm-hmm. And so I'm kind of hey, cool, we're buying a building and we got this going on. And then I get up there and I go in the building, and the building's, it's pretty big, and I'm thinking, well, this is a pretty big building that we have. And I'm thinking, to myself, do we need this big of a building? I'm thinking to myself, well, do we get a little crazy with this building? And then I come back now 1 year later and we have too small of a building in 1 year. Yeah. And so instead of there being 4 people, 5 people stitching at a time, everyone's stitching. I mean, there's machines are filled. The shipping area is completely filled with product going out. That's like an exponential. How much more are you shipping a day now compared to a year ago?
We are shipping probably 10 times as much right now, and it's growing daily exponentially.
Wow.